In this video, I'm going to be going over all of the playable characters in Age of Calamity, as well as their individual attacks so that you can better understand their movements and come up with your own unique strategy to take on the multiple hordes of enemies you will encounter in the game. Now, this guide isn't exactly an in-depth one, and it's going to be spoiler free. I just want to respect the fact that the game literally just came out and you really haven't had that much time to invest in it yet. I totally understand and I really respect that. Let's go ahead and dive into the content. How are you? I'm Derek and welcome to Zelda Theory. If this is your first visit here, be sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications for new Zelda content every single week. So let's go ahead and get started with the obvious character and probably the one we're going to be starting out with, and that's Link. Now, in the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Link was introduced as Zelda's appointed knight, and he was usually wearing the champion's tunic. Link also fights in a full suit of knight armor, or sometimes no clothes at all, depending on the type of run you were playing. Link uses a sword and shield by default and attacks with a variety of quick sword slashes and spin attacks. His special move is a spin dash, which does massive damage to enemies and is perfect for crowd control. In addition, he also makes use of his shield and his glider in battle to extend combos. Link can also use his bow for ranged attacks and has access to the Sheikah Slate, which allows him to use the Bomb, Stasis, Cryonis, and the Magnesis rune in battle. Link is not limited by just his sword and shield, as he has access to two-handed weapons like claymores and spears, and a boomerang as well. Now, I do expect for Link to have more than just these weapons, but with future DLC, the sky's the limit with what kind of weapons we will see in the game. Next, let's talk about Impa. Now, Impa appeared as an old woman in Breath of the Wild, but in Age of Calamity, we meet her as a young woman, bearing more of a resemblance to her granddaughter, Paya. Sheikah's genes are strong. Impa is a very fast character and uses a small dagger and ninja kunai to deal damage to her foes. Kinda reminds me of Naruto. It's an amazing anime. She can also absorb symbols from enemies and can use the symbols to clone herself. It's pretty cool. Impa can clone herself up multiple times, and each clone increases her damage output. She can also toss her kunai as a projectile, or toss them on the floor and cause an explosion that allows her to make a quick escape using her glider. Now, in addition to her ninja-like attacks and incredible speed, Impa can also toss her hat like a boomerang. Perfect way to clear some room as you charge into battle. Her special move tosses an explosive barrel at a group of enemies, causing massive damage. If she has clones out when she activates her special move, the clones will add more explosive barrels, creating an even bigger explosion. Impa also has access to the Sheikah Slate and the runes as well. Next up on the list is Zelda. The Princess of Hyrule ditches her Royal Highness E-ness, if that's a word, and joins the cast of fighters in Age of Calamity. While other characters have access to the Sheikah Slate runes, Zelda's entire moveset consists of the Sheikah Slate. The Sheikah Slate acts as an extension of Zelda, as she uses a combination of all four runes to deal damage and control the massive hordes of enemies. Using the Sheikah Slate, she can swing large blocks and generate ice blocks that explodes when touched by enemies. Her weak point smash unleashes a flurry of different runes on her enemy, and her special move uses the Sheikah Slate to snap a picture of the enemy before wiping them off the map, because you just have to get a good picture of your enemy before you destroy them. Normal rune use is way different than the other characters. An example of this is when she uses the bomb rune, she spawns a small guardian that scatters bombs around the area, and when she uses the Cryonis rune, she sends ice stalagmites into the ground. That's pretty awesome. We're going to be talking about the champions now. Go ahead and start with Mipha. Mipha is the Zora champion, obviously, though soft-spoken, especially when it comes to Link. Mipha is a powerhouse, using her trident and water powers to move fast and constantly. Her weak point smash summons a giant water orb that holds enemies in place as she slashes them with her weapon. All of her basic attacks seem to involve water in some way. She can create mini cyclones to trap enemies or blue orbs that travel in front of her, trapping enemies before exploding like a bomb. In addition, Mipha can dive through the mini cyclones she creates and attacks enemies with a quick and powerful combo. In her special move, which all of the characters seem to have, she holds enemies in place and strikes them down with her water magic. Mipha combines speed and strength in a graceful display, so if you're looking to play as a character with high speed, Mipha might be the better option for you. Next we got the big guy, Daruk. Daruk is a happy-go-lucky Goron champion who joins Link and the others on their crusade against Ganon. Wielding his giant stone smasher with one hand, the Goron attacks with a combination of fire attacks, spin attacks, and his giant sword. Now while he is large, Daruk is pretty quick, using his roll ability to get around the map easily. His attacks involve slow heavy swings with his stone smasher and the use of fire and magma attacks. His weak smash attack is a multi-swing beating courtesy of his stone smasher, capped off with a huge Goron punch that sends the enemy flying. He can make use of Daruk's protection by charging up his roll. Now with a press of the X button, the protection grows larger around Daruk. Then he sets off spin dashing through enemies before Daruk's protection blows up around him. Daruk is full of hard-hitting attacks that complement his massive size. Fan favorite, Rivali. The cocky champion Rivali is playable in Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and features no shortage of sass. Wielding his bow and arrow, Rivali takes to the skies and delivers waves of arrows from above, flying above enemies and using his arrows to control the area. Rivali can also take to the ground to fight, but he moves much slower, obviously. He can also summon a large gust of wind that push through enemies from 3 different angles. Rivali seems like a character who is very proficient in crowd control. Now, as with the other characters, his weak point smash zips through enemies before shooting a powerful arrow into the ground, sending the enemies flying. His special creates a whirlwind, trapping enemies inside. Rivali then shoots a bomb arrow in the center, blowing them all away. Rivali seems like a great character for dealing with many enemies at once. Finally, we have the almighty Urbosa. Urbosa is the champion of the Gerudo. She is a close friend of the royal family and shares a motherly bond with Zelda. Wielding her scimitar, she joins the fight against Ganon and brings her lightning powers as well. Urbosa is no stranger to combat and is fast and hard-hitting, constantly twirling and spinning around her enemies as if they were dancing with each other. Her weak point special has her spin around her enemies, slashing them with each turn before dropping a lightning bolt on their faces. She then attacks with lightning, which makes them stronger and causes a lot of AoE damage, aka area of effect damage. One move in particular has Urbosa spin and slash her sword, sending waves of lightning through enemies. Urbosa combines flair with power and is one of the most exciting characters revealed so far. So those are all of the playable characters that have been confirmed to this point as of the making of this video, as well as their moveset. I wanted to keep this spoiler free. Everything that we talked about in this video has already been revealed by Nintendo, so I just wanted to keep things spoiler free for you guys so that you could just enjoy the game and have some content to enjoy from me while playing the game. Obviously, this doesn't include DLC that's going to be coming to the game. We all know that the original Hyrule Warriors had DLC, and it's just something that Nintendo likes to do with Zelda games. And definitely with Breath of the Wild, there was a lot of DLC, so I hope you guys found value in this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, turn on all notifications, continue to be the light in someone's life, and remember, it's dangerous to go alone. I hope you guys are enjoying the game.